I want to take a moment to talk about the trouble that a lot of people run into with the push-pull command, especially when it comes to making a hole in a face or in a 3D shape. These are very, very, very common pitfalls, so I wanted to just quickly address them because some of you out there might be experiencing a little bit of difficulty with this tool, and I want to just be able to address that just in case. So the first and most common issue that I would see is if you were trying to push pull and you can't seem to get it going through to the other face. This is what happens a lot of the time. So I've got my group open. I've selected the face just to see that it's active, and I've made a shape in it. So now I know that I've got two different faces. I go to my push pull, and so let's select that face I want to push pull. I go to that push pull face, and I get this. Okay, and so what this is, what I've just done is I've just held down on my left click and kind of like pulled it through all the way, and the reason that is a problem is because I've not ever given it a start and stop command. So I'm going to Apple Z that. The real way I want to do this is I want to click once to start. Whoops, let's Apple Z. I want to click once to start, and notice now I've literally taken my hands completely off the mouse. So I'm not even touching the mouse at all. I'm putting my hand back on the mouse only to move it. I'm not putting my fingers on any of the buttons. So when I move this into the back face there, notice where it says on face, or if I touch this line on the back, that's the same exact plane as the back face. So if I were to click on this point now, click, that's what's going to get me my hole. So you don't want to, let's do Apple Z, you don't want to hold down and really think of it as something that you're physically pushing or pulling through and then letting go. Because when you hold down and let go, the hold down is considered the start and the letting go is considered the stop. So that's going to be your biggest problem, number one. So that might be an issue that you're running into. The second problem I come across is this one, where I have not opened the group. I draw a shape on the face, and then I try to push-pull this through. Well, right off the bat, I can see that this is a problem because I've got two different faces competing with one another. So if I use my orbit tool, I can see that they're flickering. The reason for this flicker, let's go ahead and hide this by selecting hide. The reason for that flicker is that when you draw a shape in default SketchUp, you get this purple side on one side and you get this cream color on the back. Once you make the shape three-dimensional, it becomes cream all around and the inside becomes purple, which is why if I open this up and delete this face, you'll see the inside faces are all that same kind of gray purple. So let's edit, unhide, last. So what I've got here is I've got a closed group with a new shape sitting right on top of it. And so if I try to push-pull this face, which I'm able to do because it's active, what I'm doing is I'm pushing and pulling a face through to the other side, and all I've really done is I've created a new box. Let me go ahead and move this to show you. I've created a new box sitting inside that other box. So this is a problem. Obviously, it's not going to give you a hole because, I hit escape, because this shape is not connected to this shape. The only way to get that hole through is to actually open this up. You always have to open the group up to edit it. So when I do that same basic shape here and I push pull, now it'll work because I've actually drawn that shape on the face of the inside of the open group. Alright, click. Here's another common problem. I'm going to make a rectangle on this face by opening it up, drawing it on the face, and I'm going to push-pull through. I'm going to orbit around. Look what happens when I push-pull through on this one. First things first is it comes through. It starts to come through slightly on this right side here. And I'm never going to be able to get the back face. Now, why is that? Let me hit escape. The reason that is because despite the fact that this shape looks like it's a rectangle, it's actually not a perfect rectangle. If I draw a guide from this straight line to this point and click there, see what's happening? I've got a slightly irregular shape. So what's happening when I push-pull this through is that it's pulling through parallel to this space, which is not parallel to this space. So because I don't have a parallel face on the other side, it's going to come through at an angle. It's a very, very slight angle, but it's an angle nonetheless. So it's never going to work. So the way to fix that is to first and foremost delete that shape. So I'm going to double click on that and delete it. But I'm going to select this line and use my move tool to move it back along the green axis. So now these are parallel. And I'm going to verify that the other shape is parallel too, or the other side is parallel, by using my guide to click from this point to this point. So now that I can see that these are two parallel faces, I'm going to use my rectangle tool, click, and I'm going to push-pull from one face, click to the inside of that other face, and it'll work. Close the group. And I made an exaggeratedly large shape just to show you that push-pull will always work, even if it's a really, really long shape. So if I click once on this face, and I can see that I've got two separate faces, go to my push-pull tool and click once to start, I'm never going to be able to see all the way to the back from the inside of this. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to orbit around till I get to the back face and touch the back face here. Click. And I can see now that I've created a hole all the way through that. So I just wanted to, kind of prove to you guys that no matter how long or how far the shape will work, or the shape is, let's do an apple Z, it will always work if you click once to start, orbit around to your back face, and click on that back face again, or click anywhere on the same plane. You're never going to go wrong if that's the way you operate. Close group. So those are the 1, 2, 3 basic problems that people run into when they work with push-pull. And push-pull definitely takes a little bit of practice. So if you're finding that it's difficult to begin with, just rest assured that with a little bit of practice, it's going to become second nature in no time.